It Right Show. I'm Dr. Kay Solar in the house with Hurricane Betsy Barnes, and our medical segment is brought to you each week by Mary Bird Perkins, Our Lady of the Lake Cancer Center. And when we're talking about being healthy, it's not just your physical health, but your financial health and a whole lot more. And thank you so much for joining us today, Hollis Day Jr. with Sage Money Radio.
Yes, thanks for having me.
I'm so glad that you could be here with us, because I know that a lot of people are going, with the state of the economy, with everything that's going on,
right.
Where do I put my money these days? What you say? Tell us the scoop.
Well, that answer is going to be on depending on who you ask.
For sure.
For sure. So, I'm glad to be here. Thanks for having me. Kind of like Dr. McMorris said the first segment, I told him when he walked out I was going to use something that he said that, he wants to be a complement to someone's primary care doctor. Mm-hmm. And that's basically what I am, just a compliment. There's so many places for people to put their money to go to work than what the traditional strip mall broker has for them. Just mutual funds, bonds, stocks. There's other places, and a lot of people don't know about them unless you're in the private equity market.
Mm-hmm. And so, do you want to elaborate on that?
Yeah.
And let's talk a little bit about, because you've been doing this for a long time. Let's rein it back in a little bit. You have Sage Money Radio, and you've been doing that for quite some time.
Yeah.
Tell folks about that.
Yeah, so I'm on WJBO, AM 1150, and then 98.7 FM every Saturday morning from 11 to 12. I've been on the radio almost 10 years, and I just talk about alternative places to put your money.
And folks can listen to your show as a podcast.
Yes, they can.
And pull it up anytime.
And go to sagemoneyradio.com, and I have it up there where they can listen to it anytime. So, because I know people driving Saturday mornings from 11 to 12, they hear a little part of the show, and I'll get emails or phone calls, hey, I want to hear the rest of the show. And so they can go to the website and listen to the rest of the show. I've been doing that almost 10 years, and, I constantly meet with people. And usually the first question I ask is, do you think taxes are going to be higher or lower in the future? I bet you I've asked that question to over 300 people. Mm-hmm. And not a single person has ever answered, I think they're going to be lower.
Yeah, because it doesn't seem like it's going to happen.
Yeah, best case scenario, they're going to be the same.
Right.
Even though we did get a little bump, we kept a little bit more money in our pocket with the Trump tax cuts. But when you look at the nation's debt, there's no other, they have to go up. Mm-hmm. But most people, when they say, well, Hollis, I think they're going to be higher, they're doing the opposite of with their money. I mean, if you look at the history of the U.S. tax code from when it was implemented in 1916, we have some of the lowest tax brackets right now ever in our nation's history. So if people really think that it's going to be higher in the future, then why are you deferring that tax right now?
Mm-hmm. And by deferring that tax right now, what do you mean? They should be saving in tax-deferred annuities? They should be saving in some other vehicle? What do you encourage them to do that they're not doing? Because a lot of people right now have kind of run through their savings. With everything that's happened with COVID and hurricanes and everything else, I think we're at a very, very tenuous time where people are about to lose their home or about to lose maybe their retirement and things like that. So what are some of the things that people can do where they're feeling like, I'm going to be okay, we're going to be okay? Because I think they're scared, and it's hard to know what's going to happen with taxes, you know?
Right, especially right now, what's going on. We don't know what the current administration is going to do as far as taxes. We're rubbing the crystal ball, and we're thinking they're going to do away with some of the Trump tax cuts. But yeah, so I'm a big fan of oil and gas. And there's some.
Me too.
There's absolutely. I say on the radio show.
We're from Louisiana. We believe in oil and gas.
I say on the radio show all the time that oil and gas is the backbone to this state, to this parish, to this city.
Yeah.
And and it's crazy. The people that bash fossil fuels, they say that as they're flying around their private jet. They think that the jet fuel, is run on whatever they think it is. But it's absolutely amazing tax benefits for investing in oil and gas that very few people know about. So I'll meet someone and show them, and actually just literally read the tax code to what it says and what you can deduct, and people are like, wait.
What can you deduct just a couple of examples of what you can deduct if you invest in oil and gas?
Yeah, so this is what I really like talking about. The tax code section 263, 469C3, and all that basically talks about is intangible drilling cost. So the law actually reads that you can deduct up to 85% of what you put in, of your contribution. But with the Trump tax cuts, he made it in the tax cuts where you can accelerate that last 15% in the first year. So really for the last 3 years, if someone put in $50,000 or whatever they put in, they got that much on a deduction, bottom line deduction, off their adjustable gross income.
Well, hey.
So we don't know if the current administration is going to undo that, because the president was campaigning saying the very first thing he was going to do was to undo the Trump tax cuts, but we're still waiting to kind of hear how it's going to come down. So the Trump tax cuts were set to expire in 2022 anyway. So we're hoping that he just lets it be this last year, because there's not many places where you can go put money as an investment and write it off the amount you put in. I mean,
Right. I think people are really scared right now. They're like, if I do have some money, where do I invest it? I mean, I'm afraid of, what's going on, putting it in stocks, and should I put it in land? I mean, what are my options that's going to keep it?
And then if it goes up, how can I get it out without paying a big capital gains?
Yeah, well, that's another issue that's going to smack us in the face here. The capital gains tax is probably going to increase. But yeah, so you mentioned the word annuities earlier. I'm not a big fan of it. People like annuities. They're attracted to annuities because of the safety. And I understand that, but I like to be liquid.
But you can't get your money out.
That's right. I like to be liquid. So, in case a life event happens, I mean, think about this, the 401k. Imagine getting slapped on the wrist. I mean, let's just say you have a major event in your life,
like a pandemic.
Yes. Now, and they did that where you could access up to $100,000 of your money and get out of the 10% penalty, but you still have to pay taxes, obviously, because the money's pre-tax. But and depending on where your money is, what people don't realize is Social Security, that is money that you put in that's after-tax dollars, kind of like a Roth IRA. Well, the government considers anyone who is wealthy that makes $44,000 or more. So if you're listening and you make $44,000 or more,
they didn't
and you're
know
filing
they
your taxes
were
jointly,
wealthy.
you're wealthy, because the government, that's when they double tax Social Security. And so a lot of people don't even realize that Social Security is taxed. Social Security is not an entitlement program. I think, and that was a big part of my book, is my parents were forced to put in Social Security their entire life, just like me, all of us, right? We're forced. We have no choice. Well, my mother died of ovarian cancer at 54 years old. My dad died of a pulmonary embolism at 64 years old, about 18 months later. Neither one of my parents ever got a penny of their Medicare they put in or Social Security. Where's the money at? Where'd it go? I mean, it's absolute borderline theft. And I just think the government, every time we put in Social Security, I think of that poster Uncle Sam pointing the picture, pointing his finger when he was recruiting for the military, saying, hey, Hollis, you're too stupid to manage your own money, so we're going to take it from you. If you live long enough, we're going to give it back to you in little increments every month. And so there's ways to avoid the double taxation on Social Security. It all depends on where your money is.
That's a powerful statement, because I do think people are smart enough to manage their own affairs and their own money. They just need the right information.
Yeah, I think.
And understanding the tax code is so overwhelming. I would have never found the tax code you were talking about.
Yeah, the tax code.
I'm overwhelmed by it.
And we'll show the book, Optimizing the Tax Code. So tell us about, this book.
I've got to read this book.
Because we don't have enough time to talk about everything that's in that book. So just give us a little synopsis so people will go, heck yeah, I need to read that.
Yeah, so people like having to make choices themselves, right? We don't like anybody, especially the government, telling us what we can and what we can't do. And so the current tax code is over 86,000 pages if you stack it up high. Well, there's no way. It's kind of like
who can even read that?
It's kind of like those bills
and understand it.
The bills they pass in Washington D.C. They don't. There's no way they read all those bills before they pass it. There's just no way they do all that. And so I have a couple places in there that I like to talk about the tax code on where you can optimize your money the most. Just for instance, there's something called cost segregation if you're into real estate. Well, the benefits me none by except just educating people about cost segregation. And the guy who actually, I would say, invented cost segregation is here in Baton Rouge. He's here in Baton Rouge.
We're going to have him on the show. Y'all are going to have to come in.
Cost segregation for commercial real estate is absolutely amazing. And most commercial real estate investors know about it. But if more people knew about it, they would probably get into commercial real estate, as a small investor, eventually, increasing their amounts.
That guy was racing to go invest his money in some commercial real estate. Right.
Yeah, so, getting back to what you said on the annuities, I'm not a big fan of annuities, but I have something called the flex method, which is kind of like an annuity alternative. You're putting your money in where the same company's annuities are, but it doesn't lock your money up for so long if people can qualify for it. So, it's just about education and information. Information's power.
But boy, there's a whole bunch of money shysters out there that are happy to hold on to it for you. So it's important to go with somebody that actually has some good advice. So if people want to read their book, where can they find your book, and how can they talk to you if they want to talk to you?
So they can go to Amazon.com is the best place to get the book. You can download it on the Kindle or get it shipped to you within 2 days on Amazon Prime. And then the website, you can go to sagemoneyradio.com and email me from there and listen to me on Saturday mornings from 11 to 12.
Or check out the podcast anytime on your free time.
That's right.
Yeah,
Sage
and I
Money
like
Radio.
to
And you
keep
can look at the different topics, because I did that. You can look at the different topics and pick which one that you feel like you want to learn more about, or,
Yeah, and this is the deal. You got to eat your home cooking. And so I'm not out there talking about stocks, bonds, mutual funds, all that stuff. Nothing against that stuff. I know people, push that, but I'm not in that. Basically I deal with 3 strategies, and I have my money in all 3. And so I firmly believe in that. And,
So you put your money where your mouth is.
Exactly. I'm not going to drive a Ford and tell you how great a Chevy is. I'm going to tell you how great a Ford is if I drive a Ford.
Yeah. Well, there's some integrity in that. So we're really glad that you came to be on the show. And
thanks for inviting me.
I really think there's a lot of women, a lot of moms that need to be better educated about money, especially with the shifting sands of what's going on in our economy.
And the great thing, this is not a big, thick read.
That's
It's
correct.
really compact with information. So
I think that's great. Well, thank you so much, Hollis Day Jr., Sage Money Radio. You need to read Optimizing Your Tax Code, and we're thankful that you could come, and we look forward to having you back again.
Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
That's right. Hang with us. We'll be right back.
And up next,
That's right.
what are we going to be doing? We're going to be talking about a new brewery in town, and boy, is it a fantastic spot. It's Streamer Brewery. We're going to show you some pictures, talk with the owner, so y'all stay put. You're going to want to know about this secret gem.